let me tell you something, uneducated fool.
Before we tackle the issue of trans in sports, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now ahead of time that this video right here is going to be a bit of a doozy. Now, I'm going to be going after a few very, very bad takes. I'm also going to be giving you guys some background of how I think this entire ordeal started and where it came from and exactly who I think is really and truly the person who started this entire ordeal, whether they started directly or indirectly, if you guys know what I'm saying. But before we really and truly dive into this, I highly advise you guys go check out the book, The Righteous Mind by Jonathan Haidt. It's actually a very, very good book. And there's many, many other books on this topic that we're about to speak of. Of course, talking about how people think. Of course, talking about how people look at things. And I want to go ahead and state this, and I'll provide the data in the actual comment section of this video and the description box as well, that conservatives and moderates, they sort of get liberals. They understand where liberals are coming from. However, liberals do not understand where conservatives and moderates come from. You see, right now in this society, which by the way is degrading, which by the way this is what this video is really and truly about, because this issue is absolutely degrading our society, not just here in America, but it's also degrading us on the world stage. And don't worry, we'll dive into that. Now, most of you guys know about this issue with liathomas. You guys know about this issue with, what is it, all these other trans persons trying to switch over. Of course, we had the Fallon Fox controversy. I think you guys might be knowing where I'm coming from. You see, liberals don't seem to understand that the country, for the most part, is about 60% center-right, meaning that it doesn't always vote that way, but people, for the most part, feel this is still very much a center-right country. For the most part, we still hold our traditions, and it's those traditions that kind of hold us together. I just did a video on the Dave Rubin thing, and of course, I could have lost some subscribers off that video because I just told you guys how I feel, that I feel this entire ordeal with conservatives who claim to be on the actual front lines of the actual cultural war right now are not exactly doing a great job, in my opinion. They're actually being a little bit hypocritical. I discussed that in that video there, and I think at the same time they could be getting the same way here. Now, here's the deal. Men, biological men, and this right here goes to the point about conservatives, moderates, and liberals. You see, liberals view conservatives as foreign, yet we're 60% of the country, conservatives and moderates, so technically liberals are foreign. But they view us as foreign. This is pretty well common sense. The same people who say trust the science are not exactly trusting the science here. Conventional science says that men are built differently. Men are built with more bone mass. They're built with more muscle mass. Technically, by nature, they're actually stronger than women. Now, by the way, this is not to say that women cannot do things better than some men. Okay, it's not to say that women cannot do things better than men. Okay, I'm just saying that men and women are physiologically built a little bit differently. I remember the Fallon Fox controversy. This right here was a man who basically said he was a woman. I guess he got the gender reassignment surgery, but yet he still had his hormones and everything. And of course, he was out there beating the literal shit out of women inside the octagon. Now, I made this point before in a video that I did about the issue with Russia and how we got here with this war between Russia and Ukraine. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic, but I'm using this to kind of help explain this thing. You see, right now on the world stage, people are looking at the United States and they're thinking that we are a joke. You see, right now, Vladimir Putin could say that he could go on the world stage and say, look, in the United States, they allow men who think they are women to compete in women's sports and beat women. They allow men, which, by the way, I did a video on in an earlier time on an incident in MMA, which, by the way, I'll leave in the comment section. Men are saying that they're women and they're going into an octagon and they're beating the literal shit out of women. You see, we're losing our soul as a society, and we're losing our societal advantage over the world right now. You see, these are here values that I, quite frankly, do not want put out there on the world stage. I mean, we've had it in the Olympics. I mean, what was it? This guy right here that you're seeing right here on the left, next to William Thomas, which that is his real name. By the way, he was ranked 462nd out of 500 men, and I think really and truly what happened was, and you can obviously tell by the fact that he's got no breast. He hasn't had any surgeries. It's pretty obvious to me that he's still got his dong there, that he just simply transferred over to go compete against women because he wanted to take advantage of wokeness to get a cheap win. This right here shows you how mentally incapable these people are. Okay, now, there are some bad takes out there that I got to get into. So let's go ahead and roll take number one, Tim Pool.
In the statement from Rekha, as well as why Rekha is complaining, what other female athletes have to say, and what conservative media even does here. The issue for me, as I've expressed ad nauseum, is that these female athletes competing against a biological male are not complaining about it. They're supporting the rules. They're supporting the system. And yes, I kid you not, they are speaking out in support of liathomas. My question then is, why are conservatives mad at about something the swimmers themselves are not mad about? Now, of course, we have several stories where there have been some swimmers speaking anonymously or privately, and family members who also speak anonymously or privately. And some have come out with their names complaining about it. But if the women who are actively competing say nothing and actively support liathomas, I don't understand where the complaint... Look, I get it. I understand conservatives don't like the idea of males competing against females in any capacity. But my response then...
Don't worry, we will get back to what I was saying earlier, but I want to go ahead and get this out of the way. Tim does not seem to understand that most of the women who are competing against William Thomas, most of these women are not in favor of this. They're just not allowed to say that they're not in favor of this. Okay, they're just not allowed to actually come on out and say, hey, look, you know, we don't like this. This was absolutely unfair. You can kind of see it. You see, actions speak louder than words, okay? And you guys saw in the photo how this guy right here, you can obviously tell, is much, much bigger, much, much longer, and has got all the advantages in the world against these women. You can obviously see that they're not okay with this. They're just not allowed to say that they're not okay with this. Let me take you guys back in time to the national anthem to the national anthem protest. Okay, I made a few videos on this right here, and I railed about the issue. What I did not think about at the time was, and of course when we talked about basketball, LeBron James, because I made videos on him and his ignorant social justice warrior stances. And Kwame Brown made a video about this. You see, I didn't think for a second LeBron James in that case could be controlling the guy's paychecks. You see, certain star athletes can determine who is on the team and who's not on the team, who's out of the team late. And if you're not down with the program, which by the way is for social justice, then you could find yourself off the team. You see, I think that a lot of these girls right now are doing this because, quite frankly, they're being told you have to play along with the wokeness stuff, or else you are not going to get a job. If you guys are kind of picking up on what I'm saying here. One thing that I will give Tim credit for, even though he's had some takes on this issue that I don't entirely agree with, one thing that I will give him credit for is the fact that he's mentioning that, conservatives are outraged, but conservatives are kind of like, we're not surprised. We've gotten to the point to where we're like, yeah, we're angry about it, but we're not surprised because, you see, Tim should know this as a guy who was formerly on the left, that if you give the left an inch, they'll take a freaking mile. This is who these people are. They're absolutely insane. They're absolutely loony, and they don't know how to stop. As a matter of fact, they normally eat themselves out of existence, and I personally, a big part of me believes that this entire ordeal will eventually eat itself out because, guess what? Women are starting to catch on.
On the basis of the comfort, on the basis of the comfort and dignity of girls and women, I'm asking you, telling you, please do not use women's spaces. Makes them feel uncomfortable.
My girls and the other women I am with are very comfortable with me in the bathroom.
Well, fortunately, I'm not your daughter, and my daughter is also not your daughter.
Oh, that's right.
And she
so
would
she
feel. She would feel very uncomfortable. No, I
interrupt me.
No, you
excuse
interrupted
me.
me.
Excuse me.
You interrupted
I'm not here
me.
for a debate. Beth, do you mind?
Right.
I would ask you to please call off your dog.
I beg your pardon. I'm asking you as a mother. I'm asking you as a mother. Do not use female spaces.
And I'm very uncomfortable.
It makes women and girls feel very uncomfortable.
As a mother,
You are not. How dare you?
As a mother, I am very.
You're not a mother. You'll never birth your children. You are not a mother, Dawn.
Right,
I took a job of mine, which is even more responsible.
That guy right there reminds me of the principal in the Billy Madison movie. If you guys have ever seen Billy Madison, Adam Sandler movie, The Principal, you know the guy that would go, oh, I'm not going to completely do it here on YouTube, but that's just what this guy looks like. Also, something else too. I don't know if you guys were paying attention or not, but when he said collar your dog, dude, if I was to tell a girl, collar your dog, talking about another girl, I would get slapped in the face, okay? If I had told that to any one of my ex-girlfriends about one of her friends, guess what? My then-girlfriend or my ex would side with her girlfriend. She would not do what I told her to do. She would side with the girlfriend, okay? That's how girls can be sometimes. Another thing, too, that woman with the glasses called you by your name, called you Don. That tells me that this issue is getting much, much more personal. It's getting much, much more contentious. And I got a feeling that a massive backlash is coming. now that I have told you that men are biologically built differently, you've seen that this guy, William Thomas, is really just doing this crap here to take advantage of work just to get a cheap win. The mental aspect of this entire ordeal, what are you doing to these girls? They're training their entire lives to be good at something. They're training their entire lives to win the gold. They're training their entire lives to be number one, and they're being told you've got to play along with an agenda. Going back to Tim Pool's point, maybe Tim needs a little bit more time to develop some more common sense, but the thing is this right here. These girls are being told to toe the line. Their paychecks, their endorsements, because everything is going all woke. We've already talked about the Don't Say Gay bill. I will leave that video in the comment section, how Disney is in bed with this, how Disney is in bed, obviously owns ESPN, and how they're continuing to actually push the narrative. We saw this past week in college basketball. We saw it with Elle Duncan's take. Don't worry, I got another video to put out on that right there, which, by the way, I can't really find the actual clip of her actually doing the whole, we are giving a moment of silence. We want to, it's a moment of silence for the LGBTQ community. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I'll put that video right there. It's a video that was made by a guy, Casey, I think his name is, Behind the Lines, the channel. He made a very good video about this. I'll put that right there in the comment section as well. I plan on doing a separate video on that right there, but it kind of got scrapped because I think I covered the entire issue here. But you see, right now, they're pushing this entire agenda. And, of course, Disney right now is having a sit-down because Disney World, of course, is in Orlando, Florida, and they're kind of in bed with this entire ordeal. And by the way, I have said for a while that I think that this wokeness crap was really coming from China. By the way, China's got their hands in the NBA. China's got their hands in the WNBA. China's got their hands in our sports totally. And I think this entire ordeal is designed to divide this country as a whole. It's just that when you got a bunch of libtards and Democrats in charge of the institutions, who are either A, playing along with this or just flat out stupid, this right here is the result that you're going to get. This crap to me took off when this particular guy got an award at the ESPYs.
Jeff Munson here. You like watching people get fucked for free?
No, not that guy right there. I'm talking about our old pal, Bruce Jenner. Yes, Bruschetta, Brucilla, Brucille had this right here to say.
And on and on and on. So, you know, I put out a tweet that said, well, at least I had the balls to stand up for women and girls in sports. Well, that goes viral, and it's been kind of all over. But I am getting so tired of this woke world. I've done so much for the trans community, bringing this issue forward.
Brucille, look, Brucille. Let's go back, okay? Because part of the reason why we're in this is because of you, okay? Do you remember the ESPYs when you got that award, that whole empowerment type of award, when you got that award over a Marine, over a devil dog who had lost 3 of his 4 limbs in combat and was doing CrossFit with prosthetics? Do you guys remember that? How Bruce basically just took that award, gave a speech? Yeah, this crap started with you. You could also look at Joe Rogan, of course, when he pumped up Ronda Rousey fighting Floyd Mayweather. Of course, she went out there and got her ass kicked by Holly Holm a few weeks later. But, I mean, do you guys see what I'm saying? You see, a lot of these people that we bring up are the ones who brought this about. They were doing this back in 2009, 2010, 11, all the way through the Obama years, and they've continued to do it. It's only got worse and worse and worse. As a matter of fact, speaking of Barack Obama, if I recall correctly, Barack Hussein Obama pushed the social justice warrior narrative the minute he got into the White House, back in 2009, when he took the oath of office. He is the main person who drove this entire crap. He is the main person who kept on pushing the whole equity, identity politics, all that crap right there. You see, I wanted to kind of wrap around this and go and kind of hook around and loop to this one point. You see, we're in this situation because liberal politicians pander to single-issue voters. Okay, the LGBTQ community. By the way, a lot of people who are in the LGBTQ community are not in favor of this crap at all. They're not in favor of biological men competing against women. A lot of them are not. That's why I say it's the agenda. I always go after the agenda, not the people themselves. Most of the LGBTQ people do not stand for this crap here. Most of them do not. It's that very, very small fringe minority that's a part of the agenda. You know, that San Francisco choir that was singing crap like "We're going to make your kids gay," or these teachers who want to indoctrinate our kids, which, by the way, I talked about that earlier in the previous video about Dave Rubin, about how these old people like Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh and all these people who preach nuclear family and all that stuff right there, they're right now sort of playing along, and they kind of prove that with Dave Rubin. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Him, paying for eggs and renting out 2 women's wombs to have a child, to take the kids away from those women and basically walk away. It's not adoption. It's completely different. You see, this entire crap got worse under the Obama administration when he pushed it. I'm not saying he's the main reason for it. I'm saying that he indirectly caused this crap. Then again, it may have been his actual plan, but then again, at the same time, though, either way, it doesn't matter. He indirectly pushed this crap with identity politics. You see, identity politics is what the hell drove this. Empowerment. These people right here, they claim, well, we feel ostracized. You know, we don't get a chance. Yada, 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 yada. First of all, I'll say this once, I'll say this again. Women should not be competing in men's sports. Men should not be competing in women's sports. Go back to that picture I showed earlier with the track star, the actual dude. That dude right there, and by the way, I'll leave the video in the description box. That dude right there literally ran a track, smoke checking, lapping the hell out of women. And I know somebody's going to say, well, didn't liathomas lose, or didn't he like lose his last few matches? Yes, he did. But he lost those matches because, quite frankly, he threw those matches. Let's be honest. The people right now are investigating whether he threw those matches or not. I'm pretty sure that he did. I'm going to go ahead and end the video on this note right here. This is going to take a minute, but I want to go ahead and kind of break this down. Okay, you see, not only are you hurting the girls, but you're also hurting the trans. Okay, you're also hurting the trans male. You're hurting the trans woman too. You see, these people are coming over and doing this right because they're not mentally strong. They're mentally and emotionally weak. And then to go on top of that, right, to make matters worse, have you guys seen the figures on trans suicide? You see, most trans men, most trans women, and don't worry, I'll provide the statistics, the full articles in the description box of this video. Most of these people regret transitioning. You see, when they transition, they suddenly feel ostracized from society. They think they'll be accepted, but in reality, they find out that they're not. Because you see, most people keep their opinions to themselves. People will say something like, hey, man, are you okay with gay marriage? They'll say, yeah, well, whatever. And then, of course, when they see it in their homes, they get a little bit upset. They get a little bit frustrated about it. They don't show it, but they hide the feelings. Next thing you know, when you start hiding feelings, guess what that does? That leads to pent-up anger. It leads to pent-up aggression. You see, during the BLM riots, my takeaway from the BLM riots was that you're just going to make white people more racist. That is the only thing you're going to do. They may side with you on this one right here, but come 2 or 3 years when you come back to parrot this entire crap again, because let's face it, race wars only occur every 4 years, they're going to remember this and they're not going to play along. If anything, they're going to go out of their way to vote the exact opposite of what you want, and then they're going to turn right back around and then they're going to aid in your actual destruction. This is who white liberals are. Most of these people are evil. They're loons. And most of these people, I mean, there's, like I said, this entire ordeal is nothing more than a bunch of lunacy. I know I'm getting a little bit off topic here. But guys, here's where I want to end the video at. All right, I've already established the fact that men are biologically built differently. What I didn't establish was that the same loons that tell us to trust the science aren't trusting science. Conventional wisdom would tell you exactly what I just said. I also talked about the fact that, hey, this stuff right here stems back to Bruschetta Jenner. Stems all the way back to Brucilla, to Brucille. That's what I'm going to call him from now on, is Brucille. Okay? I've already put it out there, the fact that, hey, look, women are starting to speak up. Okay? But what I did not tell you was this right here. And I'm going to end the video on this note right here. Everything that's going on, this right brings me back to Sodom and Gomorrah. Yes, it does. I'm going to invoke my own way of life here, my own religion. Sodom and Gomorrah was not destroyed because God obviously did not approve of what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because it was normalized. Right now, we have a degrading society. We look like an embarrassment on the world stage. We are losing our soul as a nation. We are losing the traditions that have kept us together for so long, the institutions. And if we lose that right there, we're done for. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section. I'll see you guys later.
Knowing is half the battle.